Okay, here it is, my world famous, at least in my world, chocolate cake. Y'all, seriously, this is the best cake. Now, the thing about baking is you do have to do exact measurements, so that's a good thing. So I'll give you the measurements as we go along. First of all, in my handy dandy little bowl here, I have put in 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I use King Arthur flour. Not really sure why, except they say it's the best. I don't know, but it works, so don't fix it, right? Okay, 2 cups of AP flour, 1 teaspoon of salt. See the salt? Oh, maybe that's the salt. No, that's not salt. That's the salt. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, right there, and 2 teaspoons of baking soda, right there, and 3/4 of a cup of cocoa. Well, you can see that, and 2 cups of sugar. So I don't sift, but I do this very slowly. I get everything going to mix it up. You don't want to go too fast because, well, see how it's so white on the side? So I'm letting it get all mixed up. All my dry ingredients mixed up. I'm going to turn it actually, I'm just going to hit it. Hit it. There you go. Now it's getting it down. Let me turn it just a minute. There. Okay. Okay, so that's mixed up enough. Okay, now, for the wet ingredients, we have 1 cup of canola oil and 1 cup of coffee, brewed coffee. Yes, I said coffee. And y'all know I'm all into shortcuts, so this is what I've got. 2 cups. And if you look at it, I poured in 1 cup of the coffee. Okay, I'm trying to get it, but trust me. And then on top of that, I put in a cup of the canola. So I've got it all together. Pouring is very technical. Okay, got that in. Hold on, let me check what I'm supposed to put in next. And the milk. Okay, and 1 cup of milk. 1 cup of milk. Now, it's really important that your milk and eggs that we're going to put in a minute are room temperature. They won't mix as well. So I'm going to mix that up for a little. And don't be afraid, but this is a very, very, very wet batter. Now, once you put in the liquid stuff, you want to beat as little as possible because it stirs up that gluten and you don't want it to... That's when your cake will dry out. I'm getting a spoon here because I'm going to have to knock some of this off. Yeah, so you don't want to mix it too much, but obviously this is still very lumpy. Let me scrape these sides down. I forgot to get out a scraper, so I just used a spoon. And yeah, this will be really easy because it's so liquidy. Okay, come on. Okay, and I guess I'll set this here. Okay, so let's beat it up for a minute. Just beat it. Just beat it. Just beat it. Just beat it. Y'all sound like Michael Jackson? Okay, so it looks pretty smooth. Y'all are going to be embarrassed how easy this is. Okay, that looks good. Now, I'm going to lift it up, and I want to add 2 eggs. Plop. Okay, 2 eggs. And watch this. I don't know if I can do this and hold the camera. This is vanilla bean paste. So I've got this obsession with making my own vanilla, and I make my own vanilla bean paste as well. But guess what? You can use regular vanilla. Make sure it's pure. Don't even mess with that imitation junk. It makes all the difference. But see how it's a little more liquid? Yeah, I didn't think this one through because I need this right here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm coming back. Okay. Okay, it's done. So what I did, see that in there? That is, it calls for 1 tablespoon. I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. But if a little bit is good, a lot is more. So I do at least a teaspoon and a half, probably closer to 2 if the truth were known. And we're going to mix this up and get the eggs in there. The coffee, by the way, was at room temperature. And it was actually left over from this morning. I just set aside a cup of it. But can y'all see how liquid that is? See, it's not a thick batter like you're thinking it's going to be. It's just real thin. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my spoon. And I want to show you just how thin the batter is, okay? See how thin? I usually use a scraper, obviously, but I want to make sure the bottom of that, sometimes it gets gooey down there, and get it all scraped out, okay? Now, let me tell you what I'm going to do next. I'm going to bore you with some words here, but this is important. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm clearly not doing this for money because I'm doing a terrible job. But I had to scrape that spoon off because it had some chocolate in it. I do use just plain old Hershey's chocolate in this, the cocoa powder. I've used the expensive stuff. Honestly, I cannot tell the difference. So, here's where the talking comes. Not that I haven't been, but anyway, you're going to pour this into 2 8 or 9-inch pans, cake pans. That's for a layer cake. Make sure you spray it with baking spray because this has the flour in it, and a little flour in it keeps it from sliding when it rises. If it's only oil that you've sprayed on the pan, it'll slide down, so it'll actually rise better. So you can put this in 2 pans, and then what you need to do is to bake it for about 25 minutes. Check it for about 25 minutes in a preheated oven of 325. However, being the rule breaker that I am going to put it in this pan right here. Okay? Get yourself a good pan. Don't get the cheap stuff. It does make a difference. But the reason I'm doing this is honestly, I don't have time to do the layers. This is just going to be easier. My husband has to take this to work tomorrow for a thing they're having. The frosting that I'm going to make for this, you can't put it between the layers because the layers will just slide off. So when I do it, I make like a buttercream for the middle, but when you do this, there's no need for anything in the center. But y'all have to stay tuned for the frosting because that is what's amazing. Another thing that I can tell you about is sometimes I will actually just have the recipe, cut everything in half, good old math, where it says 2 cups of all-purpose flour, I'll put in 1 cup of all-purpose flour, so forth, and just make everything at half, and then I will bake it in 1 layer pan, and when it comes out, I will cut it in half, and then I will put frosting in the middle and frosting all around, and you've got a half of a cake. Or I will put it in a large loaf pan, and that's going to take more like 35 minutes to cook, but we just can't get through a whole cake. So anyway, I'm gonna spray this pan. I'm gonna pour it up, and because it's in this pan, I'm probably going to cook it at about 30 minutes, but I'll set my timer and check it at 25. So hold on, though, because you're going to want this frosting recipe. This is the best. It's a cheater's version of the 7-minute frosting, and oh my gosh, I could just sit down with a bowl of it. But that wouldn't be cool, would it? And even if it was, I could never tell you. Okay, talk to you in a minute.